Good morning, everyone. It's Friday, August 21st. Time to take a break with Drake, America's Bible teacher. We are coming to you live from Southeast Washington. It's a fine sunny day. Let's see what we can learn today.
And it is go time. It is yo time. Yes, August 21, Friday. We've had this on our calendar for quite some time now. We are in a movie this fall with a new star young actor. We had her on the show last Tuesday, and that was April 2019 when we filmed with her and John Schneider. Since then, she's filmed 4 movies. And like I said 10 days ago, you keep your eye on this kiddo. She's going to outdo Judy Garland, I think. I really do. Anyhow, her debut hits the big screen today. I just wanted to say this because of the timeliness of this matter. Her big screen debut is today, August 21. The movie's called Tulsa, the same name as the city in Oklahoma. This movie is so inspiring, so amazing, so encouraging, so true to life, so faith-filled, so authentic. I know sometimes you think, oh, Christian movie. And, we were with quite a Hollywood star. His name's everywhere in Hollywood. So is his dad's name, his grandfather's name's all over Hollywood. And he asks us, why are Christian movies so bad? That's kind of like asking someone, how did you get so ugly?
Brother.
Because he knows we're Christians, and he says, why are Christian movies so bad? Oh my goodness. You know what I think about that? And what I think is that Christians, if we spend too much on a movie, we think, oh, it's just a movie. We're kind of flirting with the edge of darkness being involved in Hollywood here. If we spend too much on a movie, we take away what we should be giving to the missionaries and the poor people. And so I
don't know if a lot of people think that nowadays.
I know, but they under budget stuff. They have under budgeted stuff. The Billy Graham movies are great. Pure Flick stuff is really good. It's getting better, whereas Hollywood people, they think, hey, go for broke. We don't care about budgets, ethics, families, right and wrong, society. We don't care where this goes. We're just going for broke with this stuff. And they put out some sensational things, and then it's in and out of whether it's good or evil. Like, oh my goodness, but Christians are concerned about doing the right thing, and it's a thought of mine. I'm not saying I'm right about this.
Well, I just put up the link, Drake, so
to Tulsa?
TulsaTheMovie.com.
Yeah. So that comes out today, and I'm telling you, if you see this and go, that wasn't too good, I'll eat a shoe. Just a thought. Yes, I'm wearing my Super Bowl 50 shirt. This was Peyton's finale.
Whoops.
There goes the music again.
I don't know. I don't know how that happened.
My wife's tinkering on the keyboard in the producer room. But seriously, honey, I could not do this show without you. I wouldn't even try. Thank you. She handles the tech stuff so that I can.
Sorry about that, babe.
So
hey, good morning, Elisa.
Oh, you're beautiful. Good having you. Hi, Elisa. Today we had something scheduled, and I had to change it after midnight this morning. And so I came up with some things that I have been studying for a long time, and so it was not hard to assemble this and put the puzzle pieces together. Things in the Bible that make people go, wow, is that, one pastor I knew that... Pastors come in all stripes. I don't agree with all the things that go on in churches today, and this one pastor that I knew, this event happened, 25 years ago. It's not fresh, current, hot. I'm not bothered about it, but he was at gathering, and it was just a gathering for the media or something in a major city here in America. And he sat at a table. All tables were tables of 8, and just hundreds of people in the room for this event. And this guy found out he was a pastor. He said, "You're a pastor?" And he says, "Well, yeah, I am." He says, You preach the Bible?" "Well, yeah." And he said, "You believe all that stuff in there? Really?" And the guy said, "Well, there's some things in there that are kind of difficult." And I thought, you milquetoast, cotton ball, ninny muffin, dingbat, lost kitty in a hurricane. Well, how do you, come on, man. But he didn't have the starch to, whatever. Hey,
the audio dropped out.
Are we not hearing?
No, I can hear you fine, but it dropped out on the feed.
Could someone say, can you hear on this show? We're getting technical.
No, I heard.
Tell me to proceed.
Just a moment.
A little bit of feedback, somebody, if you can still hear us. Anybody out there?
Do not. Let me.
Can you just say, I can still hear you?
Let me pop off to another thing and see, like if I can hear it on Periscope. I don't know. This is really bizarre.
I may have to just act like I'm doing a live thing because this earpiece won't stay in. Wow. Come on now.
Go ahead. Keep going.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it was just Facebook feed.
Okay.
Okay.
And people think, well, the Bible's, this creation, 7 days, God just said it and it's just here. Well, I don't know. Well, and then, what drives me nuts is when people try to get the creation story and Darwin's very illicitly backed up evolution ideas, they get them to merge and they say, well, maybe God created the world over millions and millions of years. On the first day he did, second day this, third day this. And by the way, first day he said, let there be light. On the fourth day, he made the sun.
Thanks, Elisa. Lisa's just saying that they can hear.
They can hear. When God starts to work, he does the same thing we do when we enter a room. We turn the light on, and then we start. So the first thing we have God saying is, let there be light. With light, you can see everything. You can interpret everything. You can get distances. You can do gauging. You can calculate. You can proceed. You can analyze. You can start building. God turns the light on first. But the sun isn't made yet. Just notice that. So here's just something.
Sunlight.
Here's something that just gives away that there aren't millions and millions and 80 million years between each day. Well, God took his time. God doesn't need to take his time. Quit trying to meet the evolutionists in the middle. They're not going to meet you in the middle. So you think, well, we need to add some evolution to our creation tales and beliefs. No, you don't. No, paganism doesn't help God out at all. He doesn't need their help to explain his ways. Okay, he makes all the vegetation on day 3. Okay? What does vegetation need to stay green? The sun does one thing on this earth. It makes chlorophyll. Photosynthesis. The sun makes chlorophyll. Without the sun, no chlorophyll. When you put a tarp over something and then you take the tarp back, like on a section of lawn or something, if you leave it there too long, you'll go back, and the greenery has started to turn white because it's not getting the photosynthesis action from the sun. The sun makes greenery. What the sun does to everything else, including rocks, is denigrate it, break it down, and turn it into powder. The sun turns bricks into powder, given time. So we have the vegetation on day 4, and then this vegetation was in the dark for 80 million years because the sun is made on day 4. Vegetation on day 3 that needs the sun, and the sun is made on day 4, 1 day later. There's no way there can be 80 million years between the greenery arriving and the sunlight arriving. It happened a day apart, just like God said it did. like everything else in the Bible. People think, well, the dinosaurs this, the dinosaurs that, and they died at least 55 million years ago. There are dinosaurs in the Bible, fully described. Job 40, 41, fully described. Sea monsters, huge things. I guess they would be the squids that were so big before the flood and before there was motorized audio in the ocean.
The Kraken.
Yeah. And we have an apatosaurus described almost to a T in Job 40. Read it. They didn't die 50. Why? Well, Job is writing this. And, oh, well, the Bible is 55 million years old. Well, you know, you get yourself into a real tangle real quick if you try to merge a good idea with a bad idea. Marco Polo has in his diary, he said, today in my travels, one of his entries, today in my travels I saw the ark protruding from the Mount Ararat while I'm in Turkey. That's in Marco Polo's diary. I went inside it and I purposed to look around. I noticed that there were cages. Some of the cages were 60 feet long with 3-inch iron bars. There were dinosaurs on the ark. 2400 BC. If the Big Bang Theory is true, it says there's a whirling mass. You know, when people don't know what they're talking about and they start making stuff up, and anytime they think, well, something's so far away we can't explain it, they say, well, 430 million years ago, when I see this on a bronze plaque, these layers that you're looking at here, especially if you go to the Grand Canyon, you don't get the truth at the Grand Canyon from the forest rangers. They work for the government, and the government pushes evolution. Because if you can teach evolution to a population, you can get them to do anything, moral or not. So evolution's got to be taught to get the population to go immoral. There, boom, I said it. If the Big Bang Theory were true, and there was a whirling mass, and then there was this explosion and all the planets take their place, Earth takes its place perfectly far enough away from the sun so it doesn't burn up, close enough so that it stays warm enough for life on Earth. And how did it stop there? And why did it stop there? Come on, without intelligent design, there's no explanation for anything, including your ability to digest a raisin. Everything falls apart without divine hand being upon it. But, okay, our solar system was a whirling mass, and our galaxy was a whirling mass, then it blew up. Well, there's a theory called angular momentum. And Kent Hovind explained this to me. If you put a bunch of kids on a merry-go-round and spin it faster and faster and faster, and twisted little Drakey here, I used to do this in the second grade. I was fast in grammar school, and I would make the merry-go-round go faster and faster and faster because I was just amused to see kids fly off at a certain speed. Oh, that was a long time ago. I haven't done that in a very long time. But the kids would fly off, and if you do this in a controlled experiment, the kids, and eventually everyone couldn't hang on anymore, including the little tough boys. They couldn't hang on anymore. But they would all fly off in the same spin that the merry-go-round was spinning. They wouldn't be able to spin and then midair start spinning the other way. If the Big Bang Theory was true, then all the planets in our solar system would spin the same way. 7 spin this way, and 2 spin this way, just to prove that the Big Bang Theory is impossible for it to be true. We're going to keep going. Zingers in the Bible. Genesis 6, we're going to resume the resurrection here. We're just taking a break with Drake from the resurrection.
You taking a break from your own program.
Yeah. It says there were giants in the land. A short 50 years ago, scholars worldwide, including biblical scholars, said, well, we don't really know what this means. This verse is just the Nephilim, this and that, and the sons of God, the daughters. Oh my goodness. It says there were giants in the land, men of renown. there wasn't such a divulging of media like there is now. When I was hearing stuff like this, just in Bible college 30, 40 years ago, well, we really don't know what these verses mean. Look up giants in the land, Genesis 6. Do a search on that phrase. I hope you're sitting down. There were giants in the land. I'll leave it at that. You can look it up. I'm not going to explain it right here. The ark. Oh, you believe Noah's ark, a floating zoo, and three guys, four guys built this thing. You have any idea how big and how strong Noah and his three sons were? They were 12 feet tall. Noah's skeleton is under glass in Turkey today. Noah was 12 feet tall. Do you know what this guy can bench press? Yeah, you know, I have met the strongest man in the NFL. I don't know what his max is, and he claims he didn't either. I've actually had dinner with this guy after Super Bowl 50. He works out. He works out at 610 pounds bench press. What could Noah bench press? What could Japheth, Ham, and Shem, what could they bench press? Easily over half a ton. Easily. I think they could probably bench press close to a ton. They didn't have the strength to build this boat. They didn't have the time. They're busy. They had to get to A&W. Oprah was on. What do you mean they didn't have time? Oh, we got to stop now. It's time for the evening news. Time? Don't have the time? Don't have the intel? Don't have the strength? The ark, the dimensions on the ark. If this ark is a fallacy, then are the people that have found it and analyzed it, are they hallucinating? I've seen video footage of the ark. If this ark was just, they never built a ship before, nobody had. Well, then how are we going to? God told them how to make it. And did you know that ocean liners today are made to the percentage and the stratification of the ark? The dimensions of the ark, cubits by cubits, it's in Genesis 6. Just read it yourself. I got to keep moving. Dimensions of the ark, ocean liners are made to those dimensions today, 44 centuries later. The ark, the flood was 4,420 years ago. And there's no updating. You can't build a boat better than the ark was built and prevent capsizing. They're all built to the dimensions of the ark. The weight strategy ratio, it's really? How do they know that? They weren't able to go to Harvard University and learn the beauty of paganism yet. God told them. God told them. God told them. I'm just telling you. How did He create the earth? He just told us. And I'm telling you. Astronomers know that something happened 4,420 years ago. They know that something happened. If you took a pin, like a top, and I used to have a top as a kid, and I'd spin it and it'd go on the ground, it would just... If you could have a ballpoint pen be on the bottom of that top and have a huge paper, and it would draw a line as you threw it, and you drew a line, and then it stables up. If that top was spinning really fast so that it would spin for like 4 or 5 minutes, and what you started it, and once it leveled up and just settled on a point, and then you flicked it, it would wobble and circularize, and then it would come up to a new point again. Astronomers know that in the Earth's rotation, there's a wobble in it. If it was drawing a line, we could tell that somewhere back it got hit or something, and it made a wobble, and now the wobble is diminishing. But they can tell that something cataclysmic happened on this earth 4,420 years ago, at the start of the flood. Read Genesis 6, 7, 8, 9 again. It says, the fountains of the deep broke forth. That took such force. Look at a map of the oceans. You can see where the cracks on the ocean floor, and they match the coastlines. They mirror each other. Something happened to make these fountains of the deep break forth to let the water under the earth. It says he made the land in the water and on the water. There's still more water under the earth than there is on the earth now. But a lot of it has been released. The astronomers, it all matches. Joshua asked for the sun to stand still so he could win a battle. Astronomers also know they can go back to a set time and mark times today. They know when the eclipses are going to happen for the next 1,000 years. These guys, they're rocket scientists. It's amazing what they know. But they can tell there is a missing day in history. Joshua asked the sun to stand still and stay up for 24 hours so he could finish this battle. God said, you need that? Okay, I'll do it. What are you praying for? God can move heaven and earth. And if you need his help, it's there. You do need his help. So ask. Daniel was taken to Babylon. A clamp was put on his neck, a bar was put on his shoulders, and his hands were tied, and he was taken to Babylon as a slave. His character, his professionalism, his intellect so wowed the king that he was taken into the palace as a young teenager and offered a full life with the king in the king's court, helping the king. And his integrity was so astounding that he was unflappable, and he lived in Babylon until he was in his 90s. When it was time to go back to Babylon, he was so old, he thought, well, I'll just wrap it out here. Other people got jealous of him, and they rigged it so that Daniel would get in trouble because of his prayer life. And if he kept praying, he was going to get fed to the lions. And Daniel thought, you know something? That's kind of scary to get eaten by a lion. I better pray about this. What do we do when we are faced with a panicky situation? I wish I had better answers for myself. But Daniel's getting told, you stop praying. Pray to the king. Don't pray to your God in Jerusalem, your Hebrew God. And Daniel says, I'm going to get killed? Okay, I better pray about this. Because of that, he's put in the lion's den. Oh, well, the lions weren't really hungry. I've heard these blah, blah, prattle explanations. Well, the lions weren't actually really hungry. They were just satisfied kitties because they had here kitty, kitty, cat food, and their cow can things of Sheba food were... Come on. Daniel prayed like he always did. When he was in the lion's den, it was the 13,000th prayer meeting he'd had with himself and the Lord. When you so walk with God and you're so stable in that, when your prayer life is so uninterrupted, 500-pound cats all around you who are hungry, they don't rattle you at all. Well, they weren't really hungry. Really? The king so wanted Daniel to live, and he brought him out in the morning, and he says, you know something? I realize now. A trick was played on you to kill you. They tricked me. I'm the king. I don't like being tricked. Most people don't. He took all the conspirators and threw them in there with their entire families. And it says, as they were tumbling down into the pen, the lions pounced on them and crushed all their bones before they even reached the floor. I thought these cats weren't hungry. I thought these cats were not really angry. Oh, maybe Sigmund Freud talked to them between Daniel walking out and the perpetrators walking in. You got a real stretch of a tail on your hands if you're not going to just believe the miraculous that God can do. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, also in Daniel. I've heard a long explanation by some Hanyaker, my dad uses that word, Hanyaker paddywhack guy, who plays mental calisthenics and yoga nonstop, and he said, well, the fire chamber that they were actually put in there, and I have a model of a Babylonian fire pit, and so they were put in here, and it was much cooler in where the things are. Really? How come the guards that threw them in there burned to death? The guys that are carrying these tied up men and threw them into the coals that were probably 2 feet, 3 feet deep coals. In a barbecue, the coals that cook your dinner are about that deep. The coals, 7 times hotter than it ever been, threatened to melt the furnace itself. Oh my goodness, so hot that the guards die getting near it. And the 3 guys that are thrown in there, that soon turn into 4. And the king jumps up and says, I thought we threw 3 in there. How come I see 4? This is coming out of the king's mouth, who isn't paid to be a pagan and try to destroy the Judeo-Christian story. This is a live testimony of a king who said, well, I guess we got to kill these guys because they won't obey me. And then they walk out, and they turn back into 3 again. And they walk up to the king. He saw them thrown into the fire. He saw them walk out. There was no burn on them. There was no burn on their clothing. And they didn't even smell like smoke. Well, they weren't really in the furnace. They were near the furnace. You think they would have pulled that off on all the other observers and the king? There was a 4th person in the furnace. You know something? When the angel of God that you call upon is with you, you are safer in a burning building than you are in comfort with security cameras, with the security fence, and a guarded gate, and Rottweilers and pit bulls guarding. You're safer in a fiery furnace with God than in the finest building on earth without Him. I hope we're all hearing this. The virgin birth. Yes? No? Really? If there wasn't a virgin birth, then why did Joseph just go, cool, whatever? There are cultures and there are men on this earth that you can get them to marry a pregnant woman that they know it's not their baby. There are men on this earth that will, okay, I've had so many girlfriends. I got a wife here. I got a call girl over there. I got a girlfriend over there. I got a hooker over there. I'm pregnant. Yeah, you can come too. But you can't get a Jewish man to do that. Why did Joseph engage to this woman, find out he's pregnant, decide to get rid of her quietly? You don't want to make a public scene. She seems like a nice kid, but she's pregnant, and it ain't mine, so I'm dumping her. And then he goes, whoa, okay, I'll keep her. I will raise this child as if it's my own. An angel visited him. You can't get a Jewish man to marry a pregnant woman when the baby is not his. You just can't get him to do that. That there, the way the literature is constructed, proves the virgin birth. It proves it. The Bible proves itself. Oh, I missed one way back there. In the Exodus, they didn't really part the Red Sea. How did the entire Egyptian army die? Well, it went across the Sea of Reeds, and it was just 8 inches deep. Really? The Egyptian army, the entire Egyptian army, the toughest army on earth, obviously did a head plant, and with their feet sticking up and drowned themselves in 8 inches of water. Come on, this tale that's beyond lunacy crazy. The Exodus is true. The Israelites got through and they went on the other side. My wife and I stood on that other side just 7 months ago. And the Egyptian army drowned in there. There are remnants of chariots along the ocean floor. They've been seen recently. We have a minute to go. Oh boy, maybe I can finish these. I'll do one more. Jesus, did He raise the dead? Did He walk on water, multiply food, heal people? Really? Jesus is the biggest inspiration for healing on earth today. Judeo-Christianity has done more to create medical facilities and hospitals and fantastic medical inventions. Christians lead the way in this because their God did the same thing. Their Savior, their Jesus. I wanted to be a doctor. I realized I don't get the mathematics and the chemistry, so God took me in a different path, and I'm a doctor in another topic, but not in medicine. But Jesus inspired this whole thing. Food, I know missionaries today where they've seen food multiply in a desperate situation. One happened in Mozambique where a gallon of soup fed 400 children. You do the math on that, each kid gets a teaspoon of soup. 1 hour later, the 1 gallon of soup is gone and all 400 children, oh, wow, I'm full, thank you. 1 gallon of soup, 400 kids, the math doesn't work. But God steps in, just like in the fiery furnace, and things happen. Walk on water. He didn't walk on water. I know missionaries today who have walked on water. They had to get across and do the message of the Lord, and they did it. Raise the dead. Last stat I heard in 2016, Christian ministries throughout the world, 700 were brought back from the dead. Just the way our God brought the Son of God back from the dead and gave us the resurrected Christ that is our salvation, our source, and our inspiration to press on. And we will continue with that series right away.
See you on Monday.